When you put across your thoughts, people are ready to accept it, is what draws you back to this country.
For everything you do, there is like 80% is not covering you, right? Everything is against you, but 20% is.
I think infra is a mirror of how the country is looked in today's time.
If you're drawing, you know what elements you're putting together.
You have to have an open ear and an open eye always. You can't just close your ears and eyes and say that what we've done is right.
Welcome to another episode of Europe Beyond Blueprints. Today on the podcast, we have architect Varshneya and architect Khushboo Bansal from Sthapati. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Let's get started about your career. How did you guys meet? And then your journey as Sthapati and how's it been? Over to you guys, please.
I think we've been working collaboratively since our architecture study days, and those were the first days where we met. And since then, it has been all about working together and collaboratively taking things up. And I think that changed into the next level of working, and both in professional life and private lives. So I think that's the start that we have had, and the journey at Sthapati has been all about coming on board together and helping each other with things in and out, be it at the most complex works that we do in today's time. And yeah, I think we're going along in that direction in a fairly nice way. The work has been exciting. The amount of complexities, the level of complexities that we dwell in, and we're proud to say that the way we resolve them in today's time, doing something nicer and better for the country, is what we're proud of for the office in general.
Both of you met at Sushant, and then both of you went together to University of Nottingham, right? Was that all planned, or that was just how it
So
panned out?
nothing was planned. So I would call it like when we met and when we got to the journey of architecture, we were more like replicated what we were doing, and it was never decided that we had to do masters together or we had to go to the same country. It was never like that. But I would say it was just luck by our side or destined to go together. Like we ended up having common things together, which I would say that people or friends sometimes get, and we were very lucky to go on our Nottingham trip together and then getting scholarships together. Likewise, we had 2-3 options of getting scholarship at different universities, but ended up having the same thing together. So it came out all to be in a positive stride, and that's how I feel that the overall thing came together in a very better manner for us as Sthapati. And we know what are the challenges that we face and how we can resolve it also. So because of that duration of time that we have spent with each other before coming to Sthapati, made it more stronger.
Because eventually it leads to knowing what are our strengths and knowing what is a weakness at the same time. And that's, I think, a very important thing when multiple people run practices in today's time. Everyone can't be perfect in everything that we do. So knowing that when the person will fall or when the person has to rise, and giving him that space to rise is something that's important. And I think we have learned it in this journey. Very interesting. Yeah.
On a personal side, and the reason I asked this is me and my wife are very clear we'll never be in business together.
Yep.
Like she runs her own thing, I run my own business, and so there's a very clear understanding because work can't come home for us, right? How's that been for both of you? Like that's been challenging, or it's something you'll have found a way of navigating around it?
I think we have found a way of navigating around it. So we know that since most of the time, so what has with time we have done is that we have bifurcated things. So whenever we are working, so we know that this part of the project has to be dealt with Harsh. This I can't take up because there are people who he needs to handle, and there are a set of people who I need to handle. And everybody here has a different perspective. So we have tried to match the mentals of different people and we work around it. So it's that way it's easier. And we also try not to take work home, I would say. but it's nevertheless, but we try and balance it out.
Interesting. Coming to the work front, one thing that I when researching on the work that you guys have done here, you've done a lot of work with the government as well as the private sector, especially on the airports. I love airports. I travel a lot. I'm a freak app geek. Um, my question to you is that in the last 10, 12 years, India has seen a big infrastructure change when it comes to way we look at airports as a country. And there's been a big focus that has come in. And I think that's around the time when both of you also fully got into work and started taking up some of these projects. First thing, what has changed in the last 10, 12 years, in your opinion, when it comes to especially the way the country now looks at infrastructure?
I think that has a lot to do with the way how the world sees India as a whole. And I think it's the perception how the country has changed in the last a decade or two. And that has got into the minds of younger generation like us. Because then we bring that perception onto the board and we get that built. 15 years back when we started this journey, I still remember that. And me being lucky, I've traveled fairly a bit around the world. We've seen that there is a lot that we see outside that was better than our country much before, and there was always a chance to question yourself that why is it that they can do it and we can't? What is it that they have or we don't? What is it that they learn and they are able to do it that we can't? And I think that challenge to yourself has changed the way we work back in our offices, the way we push things in our office, and we say that if they can do, why can't we do? There was always a charm, with due respect. I have my favorite architects around the world, good friends around the world, but I still remember that the architecture fraternity in India was not as global as I must say that it is in today's time. And when we say global, I do mean that we are at par with the best in the world. There is nothing that stops us. And infra is something that reflects the country's image in the global world. As soon as you land into any airport into the country, that's the first place that you hit the ground. That's the first place that you have your coffee. That's the first place where you even use a washroom. Or be it that's the last place where you have your coffee before boarding a flight and you're off to sleep. So I think infra is a mirror of how the country is looked in today's time. And with that growing trend, I think India has had a drastic shift from what it was a decade or more ago to what it is today. So you're an aviation freak, you have Bangalore Airport, one of the most beautiful airports in the world right now. You have the most functional airports in India right now. You have the most non-functional airports in the country right now. So it's a mix and match bag of everything that we have. And I think it's the diversity, again, as I must say, in the country that makes it a good ecosystem for all of us to exist.
In your opinion, what makes an airport functional and what makes an airport non-functional? You don't need to take names of which airport you find are non-functional. That's okay. But what about it? No, you don't have to take the names. That's fine. But what about it?
For me, functional is just coming to the point. Like, you do tuck, 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 and you are where you want, and you just grab something, and you know where your hit point is. But when we speak about non-functional, it's more like, you are just walking. And even newer airports, when you land back to the terminal, you are just walking around it to just see the exit gates. And it's long walk. And sometimes now I feel that, you can do a morning walk at the terminal and have a coffee there.
Your T3 way to get gate 60.
60 is the worst thing that you have at a 6 a.m. flight.
That's the worst when you fly back later. Like, whenever I'm on a flight, which is at a midnight flight, I know it will, by luck or anything, it will land me at 60.
58, 60. Wow. Yeah, but the other thing is, I also find that airports have now started trying to also rather than just being focused towards the business traveler, I think the focus of the airport has also become like to give a shopping experience,
Yeah.
to give a dining experience. Bangalore T2 is a case
Yeah.
an example. You have these international food brands which are not there anywhere else in the country, but are only in the
In these concessionaries,
Bangalore,
Yes.
airport,
Yes.
etc. But at some level, for a business traveler, it's a pain, right? Because I just want to get to the airport as late as possible, but early enough that I just make okay, just grab something and go. But I think, what's your take on this design philosophy that's now coming around with commercial and then that experience is taking over?
I think again it's a mixed bunch of what's happening in the country, and it's a experimental bag, as I must say. India has a mix of airport operators in the business right now, and all of them are exploring new avenues, and there is no set role to it. There's a geographical context behind it. What may succeed in southern India may not succeed in northern India, as to what may succeed in eastern part of the country may not succeed in the western part of country. And as I say that, there's a huge mix of the user experience that comes into the picture, the stakeholders, how the airlines react to it, how the passengers react to it. And largely, though people are happy in terms of, that there is a commercial side to it, but as designers, we also feel that there is a thin line that is there between too much of commercial and a fine passenger experience that we are drawn to an airport. And that thin line is quite difficult to be identified, because when you overdo it, you overdo a lot of other things. As an architect, why I love airports is I love aircrafts, I love flying. If I was not an architect, I would have rather been a pilot. I was close to being enrolled as a pilot.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I still remember those days. And for me, airports is all about aircrafts, soaking in that feeling that you're getting onto the journey. You read about these airports by Norman Foster, Richard Rogers. The stories will always be about the passion for flying, the new aircrafts. How do you see the livery of the plane? How do you see what color of the aircraft is? But are we forgetting those things in today's time? And that is because of the pressure of the commercialization or the monetization. Well, that is important. That is how we survive. We're not taking away from that. But that's the thin line that we have to identify and clearly, create it as a barrier for us that we're not going to overdo it.
It's the same thing when you talk about airplanes or airplane providers. For example, if you compare it with any of the brands, let's say like Vistara was there. So with Vistara, it was like, you wanted to have that experience and you wanted to come back through it. And I feel that it's the same like for airports also. You can just say that how you want different aircrafts and different services like Emirates, Qatar, Air India, and all that. And then coming on to Vistara and maybe then comparing it to different cities of India, it's what the experience is all about. It varies with different channels. So
I think that's the diversity that we enjoy.
yeah.
And again, I stick to that line that diversity is different in different parts of the country, and that user experience for that monetization factor is different.
And the good thing in Indian airports is also that when you land, so if you are a foreigner coming to India, wherever you land, then you will realize that cultural identity to it.
Yes.
Maybe anything. Like you move around your eyes, you will find something which is like connected to you, right? So if you go to any other country, you will like land up in a box.
It is a box.
It is a box.
Yeah.
And if you like land up in Zurich also, you don't know you have landed in Zurich. But when you enter, like when you land in India, any of the airports, even if it is T3 also, then you also know that you are in India. It's not about what you're seeing outside, it's about the experience you get in the terminal, right? It's good experience that we are giving as a cultural identity to the country. When we were studying, we were told that, you go out, study, work there for some time, have a feel. I was always told you should live abroad because India has nothing to do with here. But when I studied there and when I worked there and then when I came back, I realized it has so much more. And now I have seen parents telling them just go out, study and come back because here it is much more better. And now I am like 100% sure that this is where you should be. Like, you know, you are involved culturally, you know what you're doing, and you are actually at your best peak where you can actually do anything you want rather than going out to some other country and just popping in and doing whatever they wanted. There, here you will get more chances because now people are even more open-minded than Westerns. I would say that.
This is a very interesting point, and I want to go a little deeper into this. So, when both of you were abroad, and you said that the narrative that was fed was that कि India में कुछ है नहीं. The West has been fueling that for the longest time, and then we also started. I mean, we used to also believe like that. I won't blame anyone for it. It is how it was. What made you guys want to come back to India? Because I've been through this experience.
I think it's the entire narrative of what is it, again, as I say, that what is it that we can't do? What is it that we lack? Or what, identifying why are we not able to do it?
But there must be something when you were in Nottingham.
No,
that you all must have realized that there is.
No, even before Nottingham, I had a chance to study in London for a brief period. Then I was in Nottingham, and and fairly traveling around the world before that, after that, I've always challenged myself to this question that, what is it that we're lacking? What is it that we're not doing? There's a country I won't name, but as much as I go there, I get goosebumps, and I don't survive there for more than a day. I literally don't survive there for more than a day. I take the next flight back. The next day I finish my work because it challenges you so much, and you feel to yourself that are you doing enough at your own place? And I think that's the real question that brings you back. Okay, let's do. Let's push each other. Let's go to the drawing board. Let's speak to the people who are involved in it. I do remember a conversation just 2 days back I had with one of our clients, and I saw this at one of the airports in the Middle East. They were doing something really nice, and I saw that, and I spoke with someone there, and she said that it's for the latest security concerns that we're doing this. And I messaged this to one of my clients, and I was fortunate enough to get a reply that yes, Harsh, let's do. That freedom that we have in the country, that when you put across your thoughts, people are ready to accept it, is what draws you back to this country. In the last 5 years, 7 years, we have started working across in faraway countries like New Zealand, in Mauritius. We're eyeing some business across in the American region. But it's still the high that we get in India that keeps bringing you back to India.
What are the other projects other than, if we move away from the aviation side? You did this project, the Lighthouse Project in 3 cities.
Yeah.
You talk about that. I think it was Indore,
Lucknow and Agartala. Agartala is still under construction. So there was a time, I think it was just before COVID, that the government took an initiative that come up with new technologies. And again, I must say that I'm fortunate enough. People do ask me, how do you work so much with the government? I'm fortunate enough to be working with them. I rather say that, and I acknowledge that fact. They came up with this thing that, Harsh, can we do something new with technologies? Can we do something away from the regular, concrete brick construction? Can we do something? And they said that, okay, have a look at something across in Australia, have something in Canada. The real question was, are those suited to our environment? So out of 10, 15 technologies, I think we identified 2 to 3 technologies that suited us.
Okay.
And those 2, 3 technologies those were the first times when, we studied about how a wall was made as thin as that. How could you have a building you never imagined could be without a exterior paint finish or even a tile finish, nothing. Now, if someone teaches you that thing that, okay, you do this, ये खड़ा कर दो, रहना शुरू कर दो अंदर, तो पहले तो पूछोगे क्या है ये, पूछोगे क्या है, फिर उसके benefits पूछोगे, उससे पूछोगे क्या disadvantages हैं, in what temperature can it sustain, what are the joineries that we are looking at, do we have skilled people in India to build that, do we have skilled engineers to design it, do we have skilled architects to understand how a room would intersect with another room besides it, how a wet area would function in that technology. So it was a learning experience that we had in 2020 to 2023, 4 years. And we did this in Lucknow and Indore. Agartala is under construction. It's a reclaimed site. It's one of the hardest sites for anyone to build on. And what we got a pond. So the government gave us, okay, build it on a pond. Okay, you're doing something new.
You do it on a
You do it on a pond.
ये क्या
हाँ,
logic?
you do it.
नहीं पहले तो pond के ऊपर क्यों एक दो आप तो pond को खत्म कर रहे हो?
Pond.
Which is a-
It was a marshy land. So
okay.
yeah. So
It was a marshy
so
land
marshy
filled
land.
with water. That's why we say it was a
I
pond.
still remember I went to that site for the first time with boots and with that mud up to my knee.
Don't you ever wonder कि what am I doing in life like when you come to a place like that?
No,
What
I faced,
challenges you
no,
really?
I was sent to a site in Africa.
You was sent to a jungle.
I was sent to a jungle to build a
Convention
very
center.
big convention center by the president of that country. And
Did you guys execute that project?
yeah, that is under execution right now. And the first time I remember, we took a jetty from one place to an island. And when we entered that island, we were told that, okay, you can encounter anything onto here. So wear your jackets, wear your boots up to the knee level. And we were struggling onto that. And I was like, okay, get me out of here. I don't want to survive here. So you get across these experiences, and coming back to the lighthouse, I think it was the technology that drew us to it. It was a challenge as to how the joineries could be, how the finishes would be. And it was a big challenge even for the suppliers and manufacturers. Because as an architect, you would want some colors to play with. You would want some joineries to play with, how as a user you see that, how as a user you use that. Be it a simple room, can you hang a painting onto your wall? So
It was challenging because
It was
it was
challenging.
not block work and all.
it was not
a
concrete.
Concrete also. It was a special material that was an infilled material that used to go in. So we were questioning that if somebody even wants to hang a watch, like a clock.
या वो कील ठोक
हाँ,
के-
कील, हाँ.
हो पाएगा कि नहीं हो
पाएगा.
पाएगा. So we tried, tested various ways. We figured out ways to, have our boards within it because the thickness of the boards mattered. Everything mattered with all of that. The joining.
You
the
didn't have
slab.
switchboards to it. Imagine we were getting into a technology wherein you in India, wherein
वो
वो तो
दीवार
स्टैंडर्ड
के-
आते हैं
हाँ,
ना,
वो तो दीवार के
तो
अंदर
बॉक्स स्टैंडर्ड
बॉक्स
आता है,
बनाते हैं,
पर
हाँ।
वो बॉक्स से पतली तो आपकी दीवार है. So then how do you do that?
So all those things and even
So that is something that even the developers who were working with us, we were fortunate enough, they were of the same, instinct that, okay, let's do it. And if it was not for the risk that we took and they took to do something head on, it wouldn't have come to life today.
But these risks are risks.
Yeah.
There's
These
a
risks
very
are-
high probability that they may not work out to be the way that you wanted to work out.
But if you apply your mind and if you get them right, they will work it out.
Yeah, but there is that possibility.
There is a possibility, yeah.
there is
a possibility.
but the possibility is like that you have 1,000 houses. So when you are doing a show home,
The mock-up.
the mock-up homes, then
उसी में
obviously
ठीक कर लो सब.
उसी में we get it corrected. So when we got our first floor made, we figured out that whatever the problems were, which were coming and which we felt, we tried to sort it out, and then we did another check before the start of a second tower. So it worked out well because we had a number of houses to work on. If it was like if we were trying on few houses, it
Or
would
let's
have
say
been-
residential.
Yeah.
it
one
would have been
residential,
tough.
yeah.
Yes, it would have been tough. Likewise.
I still remember in the mock-up we missed checking on the lintels of the windows. Because it's a mock-up, now it's on the ground.
And the funny part was even the slab rested at the window.
So you don't have a
things
way...
like those started happening.
So you don't have a standard detail how the lintel would be made in that. So now if you're doing a 14, 15 story high building, you need some sunshades onto the windows. Now how do you do that? So there are ways to deal with it. And if you have that formative team who is ready to collaborate together, I think that's the good part of it in India. That we get these like-minded people who say that yes, we can do it.
And that's the number of like the quantum. So when we say West is trying new methods, they have smaller scales to work on, and we have bigger scales to
Yeah.
work on. That matters a lot. So when you go to westerns, you have like they will try a wood house. You know, why is this fire is happening in California? And we talk about why that one house didn't burn in that whole land parcel.
Yeah.
Because that was a concrete house. And we have concrete houses. And all were wooden houses. So what we try test here is actually we are trying to build for longer and more durable and for more population, and we risk less lives. Why are we not building in just truss system? Why are we just not having a column stuck together in the beam like screw and hold it up? And we questioned ourselves, and he is trying actually to make sure that we replicate that, have cold form structures, and do that. But it comes with a challenge. So sometimes we have to even integrate that steel with concrete. So likewise, you're doing on another
Yeah.
project. He actually that project that ended up with a composite column.
Yeah. So we faced this challenge on one of our aviation projects wherein, we actually gave it up. We said that okay, we can't reduce column sizes more, but we kept on challenging our teams. Can we? Can we? Eventually it comes with a cost, number one. And number two, there is no dearth of technological advancements that we have in the country. So as soon as you then mix steel with concrete, or you overdo a steel with concrete, or overdo one with respect to the other, you achieve different results.
Okay.
So you keep trying that. There's a permutation combination that then strikes to you and say that yes, this is what I want. I still remember I was at I think it was Munich, and we always have one favorite person to go to when we see something nice. And I clicked that photo and I sent that person a photo that how are we not doing this? It was then we were in the design phases of Hyderabad station and the Mumbai station redevelopment projects. And we were struggling with these, the distances of the columns with the tracks that we need to have. And because of the spans that we were doing, the columns were getting bigger.
Okay.
And I questioned him from there, and I took him on call straight away from Munich, and I said that, can we not do this? And he said that, Harsh, we are in such a seismic place where we are bound by these things. So we went back to the drawing board. We took some help from the IITs, and we achieved the results. So it's always about, I personally feel there is nothing that is not possible. It's just not possible to say that it's not possible. With all of this engineering marvels that we do, with all of these things that we see in the world, with the best planes which are being built, with the best airports that are being built. I just flew 18 hours on the longest commercial flight in the world. And if you can fly that much, if you have something that can fly in that zone across the world, is there something that's really not possible? So that it's all about bending your back.
What's made the two of you question everything this way? It's rare to come across people in general in all walks who are so comfortable questioning themselves, their methods, the assumptions, the beliefs, and to keep pushing yourselves.
I think it's that willpower and never settling for
Whatever it is.
whatever you have.
There's a big hand of fate
Yeah.
in your story.
Yeah, fate.
And we would also say that when you say infra projects, so people say infra projects, but things like which are public centric, are tough. And there
you can
are
always be questioned.
You are always questioned for every line you draw, every pipe you draw, everything.
Every
We
door
also
you
love
draw.
to criticize.
Yeah.
Every
We
door.
love to criticize
And
anything
every
and
door.
everything.
When one of our buildings got functional, I told Harsh, I have gained so much respect for all architects, however they do, to whatever they are building. I would even say if there is this complete thing, it is a lot of things that are involved in it.
Yeah, there's a utter amount of respect that we
It
carry
is.
now.
Yeah, so it's like for every architect, if they have done something, it's real hard work. It's when we call it architecture is the toughest profession. It is real hard work. He has gone through all the hurdles, and he is not known. That's the problem. And known is the other person, but he has done all the hard work. The pipe to the stringer, how it has to be attached to if it went wrong, to went right, to all the struggles. And it has gone to an engineer.
And I think no, it is bound that ways. And the thing that you asked me, that that infra push and getting the right people on board, and Lay being the game changer. Lay was a game changer, and from there it was we took it upon ourselves that yes, we're gonna do more. We're gonna do more of them. And a lot of my friends in the fraternity question me that, Harsh, how do you survive this top-down approach of the government? At times they feel from outside. I sit down with them and I say that it's very inclusive. It's about giving time. It's about being patient. It's about letting things happen, and it will turn it that way.
Yeah, like obviously for everything you do, there is like 80% is not covering you, right? Everything is against you, but 20% is. So we know that we have to look to that 20%. At the end of the day, we know that 20% is what we have to push.
It's very interesting take, because typically people stay away from government projects, complaining of
Yeah, that's why
bureaucracy,
fees,
complaining
fee
of-
levels, bureaucracy, red tapeism.
Huh.
But I don't see it that way. And
गवर्नमेंट भी बहुत पुश कर रही है, वो उनका अपना भी जो ब्यूरोक्रेटिक है वो भी बहुत रिफाइन कर रही है. इट्स नॉट दैट दे पुश अस ओनली, दे पुश एवरीबॉडी.
they and
Within there we feel that, but within their circle also they have that line boundaries. आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि गवर्नमेंट जॉब आसान जॉब है.
Do you think the government projects they push you harder than the private projects?
No,
nothing like
Is
that.
there
Nothing like that.
nothing
No.
like that. Both are equally, like, they have their different goals to it. So for a private developer, it's more like, it's his investment. For governments, it's their pride. So both work hand in hand.
And I
Can
think
you explain this a little bit more? Or what do you mean by is the pride?
It's like for infra project, it's their pride that whatever is coming, it has to be functional, more people-centric, and to the point, crisp architecture. But with investors, it's more like a lifestyle job, which they can redo after their investment is taken on board.
It's very interesting perspective.
I would say that we should appreciate sketches because that gives more design a better opportunity to come together as a better building.
we're fortunate enough to, we're working with like-minded people with us. So वो time लगता है to work with like-minded people and to build that team. So yeah.
You love traveling, right?
Yeah.
It's very evident.
You can see
He
everywhere
loves.
here.
I think he
You
loves
see-
traveling a little bit
you
more than you, or is
Yeah,
it equal?
he loves. Actually, he does so small trips. I love traveling, but not at the pace at what he travels. He can do like a 17-hour flight in 3 days and twice.
I love, by the way, airplanes.
No, like
Yeah.
It's the most peaceful time I get on air.
Yeah, I finish all my work.
so he did a fly on Monday for a 17-hour fly. Then he came back, took another on Friday back, and he landed back on Sunday mid-morning.
And I was up with work.
That's not as no, I've not done that in a very, very long time.
He
I
keeps on doing this, so that is why I say that I love traveling, but I like to enjoy it like a little bit with more time.
I mix it with work in a way. So, for example, I was mentioning about the country where I don't survive for a day more.
Yeah.
So, hit that country, work, finish off that work, fly out.
Once we are off camera, I'm going to try and guess which this country is.
So, fly out, go to the place where you have the next work,
Yeah.
take that longest flight that you can, save time rather than flying to multiple places.
Sure.
Land there, do that work. Before the jet lag even hits you,
You're on the next
fly
flight.
back.
Yeah. So you're just not giving your body any time to realize कि ये
No, I think
he did San Francisco like
no,
that.
I know. I think there's a lot of physical fitness to it. No, there's
There's a science to it.
there's a science to it, and the science is that if you keep your body clock hitting with that same physical fitness regime, a lot of my friends, a lot of my industry peers, when we are in the journeys together, they laugh at me that Harsh, over here you're going to hit the gym at 6 a.m. Why not enjoy aviation in a way that your country is offering you? You have the most direct flights. You have the most direct connectivities. So make use of it.
And then I realized why Indigo has 64% market share, because when you're going, sorry,
Well,
when
I'll
you're
never
going
fly
from,
Indigo.
when you're going T2 to T2 कोई option ही नहीं है, आपको Indigo पे जाना ही पड़ेगा. So the slim seats.
So T2 बंद हो गया ना इसीलिए.
Hey, I'm in tier 2 to tier 2.
Tier 2 to tier 2, okay.
So you have to take Indigo. You have no other way out.
But I feel it's a no-nonsense airline. So there's a thing to it.
Operationally, there's so much to learn from them.
Yes.
They're very good.
Excellent.
I feel that they are just what you need.
One of the interesting projects that we researched and you're working on is this housing crisis that happened in the NCR Noida side.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate what was the crisis and then what's the work that you're doing there?
I think we were in the 2018-19 wherein this huge dilemma came about the housing sector not performing.
When
The real estate not performing,
Right.
and the people had ended up paying money, and there was a huge dearth of what was being delivered versus what was expected. So that was a time wherein it took us 4-5 years to get nearly 20,000 homes finished.
These are you talking about those buildings that were constructed by developers but they were never completed?
They were not completed. A few of them were constructed. Few of them had never even started being built. And the money was paid.
Yeah.
So there was a huge task of doing that task up to the satisfaction of these home buyers. And there was another angle to it that obviously when a home buyer would get his home, then he would keep asking for more. So I think...
What do you mean by keep asking for more?
Keep asking for more means that, एक बार होता है कि a beggar is not a chooser. एक बार होता है that when you are the custodian of your place, then you can always say that you deserved more.
Oh, थोड़ी सी इंग्लिश दो तो पूरा हाथ खींच लेना.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
So we finished about approximately 500 towers in Noida from 2020 to 2023-24.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 500 towers in Noida, Greater Noida. And the amount of satisfaction that you get when you deliver these homes is overwhelming.
Yeah. And you know that, it's being used likewise. And even you cross, you see out of them. And plus you see firstly now it's like an urban design thing that you've added to the society. Added to that sustainability which nobody counts.
Yeah, but nobody counts.
Sure.
You see these...
I forgot about, and I've been living in Delhi for the last 10 years. I forgot about these incentives and stuff.
Yeah. You and today when we see those on Google Maps, we instantly, recognize them that, okay, yeah, this is what we did.
What were the challenges that you came across?
Yeah.
I think the जो नई construct हुआ था वो तो आसान रहा होगा because you had a open playing field. But
नहीं, जो नहीं हुआ उसमें भी आपको पता कहाँ था कि क्या बनाना है.
So the drawings and
There's nothing.
There's nothing to
I am a owner of a flat. I say that I deserve this. You are the builder. You are the...
But the builders का आपको blueprint तो मिला होगा ना?
Everything's vanished. Nothing on record.
Because at the end of the day,
Nothing's on record.
it's something that government wanted to take as an initiative to finish those homes. Because at that moment of time, at 2020, when we say, you were already 10 years delay, and now the money is a little rotating, but at that moment of time, people had that much money which they have already invested. And they had taken loans, they were on rents, they wanted to move out there and, come onto the place from where their rent can stop and EMI could actually start. So parallelly, they were having their EMIs, their rents. So that was one challenge which came across for everybody. And that is when the builder would want to, vanish everything. And it's at the end of the course, he's not completing the project.
And when you hit the ground, you see the site and you say that, okay, where to start with?
It's like you have basements built And there are
You have
college
basements
and
built, nothing over the basements.
nothing over
Imagine.
the basement, and you don't know what is in
A
basement.
horrifying sight you enter into.
But we did very well analysis of all these things.
Yeah,
So can we talk a little bit more in depth on
Yeah, we did.
the process that you took? What were your learnings from that? And
I think
the challenges you faced?
the government helped us a lot.
In what way?
In what way? In identifying the correct people who actually own the homes, getting the records straight. Because the other problem would be that मैं कह रहा हूँ कि मेरा घर है, क्या वो मेरा घर है? क्या पेपर पे मिस्टर एक्स लिखा है, वो मिस्टर एक्स एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता? Now comes another angle of money.
Wow. Sure.
So get your head around it. Okay, then Mr. Y walks in and he says that he deserves a 300 square feet big lawn in front of his podium at the green level. And that's his. How do you set the record straight? I think that exercise taught us a lot about real estate as an industry, as to what documents play an important role, what are the rights of the home buyers, what is the role of the architects, what is the role of the building managers, what are the roles of the construction agencies.
That is where RERA came in.
That is where RERA came in. That is how, the permissions then came in. So those projects got a waiver for the completion certificates and everything, because there was nothing on paper.
Yeah.
So आप करोगे क्या? आप मतलब how will you actually do anything when you don't have something to start? And it took us 3 years. We were fortunate enough. We got nice people along the way who did fine jobs, who helped us deliver those. And eventually there was a strategy that the authorities built, that how we are even getting money now to build it. Now imagine, एक तो होता है ना, पैसा दे चुकी था, पैसा था ही नहीं ना, the person is gone defunct. How do you build? पैसा तो चाहिए ना, जैसे आपने बोला, काम करने के लिए पैसा चाहिए. अब पैसा चाहिए, पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? कहाँ से आया? उसी जगह से आया. You build more on the vacant land. You identify the vacant land. You identify what more FAR that you got. How much can you build more?
And where the authorities also said that, you have to monetize. At the end of the day, I would say everybody was working together solely to complete that thing in order. So things are in line. Overall, हमें सब ये दिखता नहीं है. But actually सब लोग कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं एक ही चीज पे. वो दिखता, हम हमेशा जो साइड देखना चाहते हैं वो बात है.
So you're saying that the projects where large part of the work was done was easier to have completed because you knew the structure?
Nothing was largely completed. Everything was on scratch, but still done, but still not done. Nobody could use it.
So we've had these projects wherein you don't have a drawing to start with. You build it from scratch
with some kind of infrastructure
with already done there.
Yeah, and these are the projects that we are talking, and we're not talking about the projects we started with, like this fresh
that aviation is a different ball game. That's
No, I'm saying like we have nicer housings also, which we did, but we still talk about these ones
because these are the challenging ones. These are the challenging ones. These are the interesting stories.
These are the challenging ones, because I think as an office also we have grown with them.
Yeah.
These are the opportunities that we always cherish, because they gave us those chances to play the extra mile, play the volume game, and
it's amazing that the two of you are in the forefront of a lot of innovation and change that's happening in India.
It's came in certain ways, and we've liked it and we've imbibed it. So I think
So thank you for coming on this podcast. This conversation has been amazing. I've learned a lot from the two of you about how India is transforming, and then how both of you challenge beliefs, assumptions, and pushing the boundary. Always willing to take on a hard project where most people are saying it's impossible. Where you said, why is it impossible is the right question to ask.
Yeah.
And I think from swampy land projects to
to the glamour ones,
to helping homeowners who've been not been done right with.
Yeah.
And then of course a lot of the other nicer projects that come along. But yeah, thank you for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you for spending time and thank you for having us.
Thank you.